Hey there everybody, I'm Wayne D and this is my website. Thanks for checking in. As you can see on the screen, we're looking at Justin Rose, who had a great win a week ago at Cog Hill. And what we're looking at here are swings from different eras of Rose's career. I was lucky enough to be able to film him myself at a tailor-made function down at Reynolds Plantation. This is probably, I can't even remember, I'm guessing 4 years ago. But what I thought would be interesting to look at would be his swing now and versus his swing back a little while ago when he was still, I think, at this point working with David Ledbetter. Both swings are really good. I think Rose has one of the best swings technique-wise on the tour, and we're going to see a couple of some differences. If you look at the one on the right here, and we draw the lines, you might wonder, why mess with it? But everybody's looking to get better. Rose hooked up with Sean Foley. Foley has a few different ideas than David Ledbetter, and thus he's going to guide his players, and Rose included, to his preferences as far as takeaway and height of the backswing, release action, and other things. But let's take a look. So first thing we see back probably in 2006-07 is Rose's outside the plane takeaway. You can see the hands come away from the body, and that always leads to a half back's position of being more in front of him. It's perfect plane, but if we look at the progression numbers, we go from 56, the shaft plane, all the way up to 67. And most guys who come up like that and have good swings usually go, if they go 11, 10, 11, 12 in the backswing to halfway, they're not going to come up very much more. And so you see it only go up to 69 from 68, so it's only up 1, 11 and 1. 12 is a kind of an average number. I really like the leg action. You see the symmetrical knee movement. You can see the right butt cheek peek out behind the box. Here, slight lowering, very slight, but if anything, you see the head compress a little bit into the ground. I could draw that line right up to the shaft, perfect plane. Neutral wrist angle. I mean, it really doesn't get any better than this. A lot of Led's players' swings develop very nicely. I think David Ledbetter is a underestimated instructor. Now, this is one of the things that I've been taking a look at with a lot of players, and that's the hand movement from the top. You can see a pretty immediate movement of the left knee to retract. Hips rotate, the knees stay right in the box, perfect. The hands are going to work down the high line with the shaft shallowing quite a bit. And once the shaft shallows, it'll begin to steepen later in the downswing, nicely above the right forearm, and really just barely above the shaft plane. When we go back, remember, most of the guys that get it right on the shaft plane have a little higher hand position at address. So here, if I raised up that shaft angle a couple degrees, it would be perfect. Now, also note the release action is really pretty much right up that plane line, with the right arm straightening a little left. And we want to note that because in his swing of last week, when we look at it, we'll see the release action in some of these shots is quite different. So you'll see a little more lowering in the head. So at the end, 2 or 3 inches down, maintains his head out over the ball fairly well. A little pullback, but certainly hips right dead in the box. I'll use this swing as a model for a lot of the stuff that I try to show people, especially about that hip action and the way the club planes. So very nice looking golf swing, and Rose has always had great rhythm, just a beautiful tempo. I'll actually show this swing to people who swing too slow because this is a nice rhythmical medium tempo for a tour player. Now let's go over here and take a look, and I believe on this shot he was hitting right about the same club. I think the shot on the right here is a 7-iron. I think this is also 7-iron. Let's go back to the setup here and take a look, and we'll see definitely a different setup. So we've got much more sit back on this one. Now watch, and this is something that you'll see in all the swings that I got off of the TV. You'll see a pronounced sit back before he takes it back. So if I put a line up to his head here, you'll see it move away and then right back into it again. Now that's one way. If he's on the balls of the feet here, it looks like he's kind of in the middle. When he sits back, the danger that I see in that with most players is that once the weight goes into the heels early in the backswing, it has a tendency to drift into the toes coming forward. But you're going to see here that that doesn't happen. So shaft angle a little lower, so a little lower hands here, a little more sit back. You can see that by this. There's quite a bit of space there between the butt. So this is not your common leg angle here for most tour players. It's a pretty back. This camera's moving around a little bit, so I'm not going to draw those lines. But again, I mean, you can see it's not perfect, but the lowering again in the backswing, not as much in the forward. So more compression in the back. You can see the legs even squatted even more. But the big difference here is going to be starting with the takeaway. Look how the hands move into the shaft plane and the club comes right up the line. So that's a big difference from the one that we saw 4 or 5 years ago. So check this out. Now my preference would be the one on the left here. I would like that a little better than the one on the right. I've never been a big fan of swinging the hands away from the body and setting the club way up in front. So this is going to be a deeper position here relative to where he started. And the good thing is that the camera didn't move around too much on this shot, so that's good. So here you can see that's a huge change to go 54-61. That's only 7 up. We had 12 before. So we're going to see a little more up. So 4. So we're going to go 7-4 here, and here we're going to go 11-1. Well, those pretty much add up to almost exactly the same thing. But look at the difference in the left arm angle there. Big difference here. About 10 degrees of angle, so way higher set. You can see that the right upper arm is definitely higher in the swing on the right also. Now these are all hallmarks of Foley. You'll also see the right forearm as more vertical here and less so here. Now we've got kind of too many lines going on here, so let's get rid of a couple lines. And now one of the big keys here, and this is something that I think that if Foley were to work on this with Tiger, that he'd have 3 guys playing great instead of just 2. Look at the hand movement. Now this is Hogan-esque in that hand movement is actually out above the ball. Now that'll take the shaft from perfect plane to shallower than the plane. It'll flatten it immediately. So there we go. There's the progression. And then a la Hogan, you'll see the shaft begin to steepen on the way down. And this is how the best players keep the club above the right forearm right here and moving left through the ball. Now, one thing that's interesting about these later swings, when Rose is hitting a longer shot, his right arm will release more toward the target than it did here. Now with the driver, it almost looks like a chase release. Now it's interesting because from what I've seen of what Foley teaches, that probably wouldn't be the ideal release pattern. The right arm would actually stay more into the body and go around with the chest, but certainly Rose has hit the ball extremely well and hit the ball nicely in this tournament. You also see that there's a little more backup in the head here. So he goes into it a little forward because he leaned back to begin with, and then as he hits it, he's a little more back up there. And you can see it like with Mickelson's swing. When guys back up through the ball, the right arm tends to release out a little more. And as it goes through, you can see how much the right hand is folded up over the left. But again, nice deep hip action. Now one thing that's been a hallmark of Rose's swing, and I've used this swing, his older swing, just as an example, he's extremely stable in the backswing, and he gets up into a nice, wide, compact position here. So that's another thing that I would like to teach people, would be to get that nice separation between the hands and the side of the head there at the top of the swing. Now you won't see a lot of kick in the shaft, and you won't see a lot of excessive angle formed. I mean, if Garcia was here, his club would be like this, right? But Rose is a big guy, and he does a nice job getting the hands right up to the ball, you know, with plenty of angle. Now, maybe not quite as forward leaned as some guys, but then again, you know, size is such an advantage. Being tall and rangy like he is, he can still really hit the ball out there far. So take a look at a longer swing here and compare it to another longer swing. I had a driver swing here. Let's see if I can pull her up here. Here we go. Alright, it's hitting the same club. So this is interesting. A little off-angle camera, but let's take a look as he gets up. There's again, it's always good to look at a few different swings to see if one swing was not an aberration, but look at the pronounced sit back from balls of the feet here into the heels more, but then he stays nice and deep. And that's a key move, I think, in the golf swing, is to limit the amount of forward movement in the left hip. Even if the heel comes off the ground and the knee pops forward, it's really how the bottom of the spine retains its position in the backswing, which gives you the proper coiling action. So if the spine is here and the bottom of it is here, then what you're doing is trying to keep it back and not let it pitch forward as the torque of the swing tries to pull the left leg forward. So this is one of the physically difficult things about the swing, is to keep the angles back in here, and the best players actually deepen those angles. As we watch the older swing, again, there's the out move, there's the in front, there's the high position, still perfect at the top. Now this one on the right is going to look a little odd at the top because this is an off-angle camera. The camera's right out on the ball. But anyway, you can see again, how much lower the left arm is here. But look how nicely that club on the left here stays above. I mean, he's always been good, really good. And you know, if you look at that approach angle, that's pretty that's pretty mint there. Now, from that deeper position, it actually gives him a chance. Watch the hand action again. There's the plane down to the ball. Watch where that goes, right down the line. There's the shaft shallowing. Now here's that chase release I was talking to you about. Now I'm not sure that if they filmed this that Foley wouldn't look at that and say, you know, maybe we could work on that a little bit. Probably something you would work on in the off season. But again, you know, one of the great things is just, you know, watching him as smooth as silk. I mean, the guy has really got a great action. So very nice. So that's Justin Rose. Another great swing to look at. And I hope you enjoyed that.